Hi, my name's Stephanie Wooten. I'm a grad student at the School of Information.
I'm Chris Brooks. I'm a research fellow at the School of Information.
So our project, the initial goal for our project was to analyze video material from U of M classrooms. We had hoped to study data from flipped classrooms, from all sorts of usages in the classroom at the University of Michigan. But we had challenges, namely getting data. It turns out that there's a wide number of systems at the university that use data, or that don't collect data, that do video material for the U of M, but there's problems with a number of them. There's Cultura, which is really new, and therefore there's not as much usage yet. There's Blue Review, which did not keep data yet, although in the future they're hoping to, which is an interesting note on a side. And then there's Echo 360, the med school, the EECS, all these different departments and schools within the university that all have their own systems. And they would be good to analyze, but unfortunately, they are very specific pockets of the university, and they would be specific to courses, systems, and ultimately limit the impact of our results. So we're still exploring, and hopefully we can do that in the future, but for this, for the fellows for this year, we decided to look at MOOC video download streaming data instead. So that's what we ultimately looked at. We decided our big question, we had two big questions. One is, can we detect attrition from video usage? And what's interesting about usage in general? Side note, this graph is still a work in progress as well. I'll let Chris talk.
Yeah, so as Stephanie mentioned, we decided we would look at some of the MOOC data. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the MOOC data sets that the U of M has here, but we have many on Coursera. We've run about a dozen different courses and run some of them 4, 5, 6 times. So it's a really interesting longitudinal data set. Here's one of our first shots at trying to visualize the access to this kind of data. So above the center line there, you see these are people who are using the the web-based browser to actually view the video data. So you see little spikes, and that's on a weekly occurrence. So there's a sort of pentameter, if you will, for viewership in this class. And then on the bottom is actually the downloads. And these are people who are downloading the video to watch in some other player or to archive it or something. And so you can see lots of interesting patterns here, actually. Right at the beginning, lots of people using the web-based player, not a lot downloading. Right in the middle, it seems to be about even, maybe a little bit more viewing, maybe not. And then at the end, we see this group that you would imagine there that say, hey, thanks everybody for being in the class. And I'm thinking, wow, I didn't watch anything. I better go download it all before it disappears. So these are the kinds of patterns that we're looking at. So our next step is actually to compare this across many instances within a course to see if it changes within a course. And our preliminary results are it does, but there's still some regularities, especially in the top half of the graph. It's the bottom half that seems to differ. And then to compare 2 different courses. So what happens when you take a science fiction fantasy course and you compare it with a social network analysis course and an intro to Python course. And so those are kind of some of the big questions that we have coming up. So if you're interested in talking about video data, lecture capture, or MOOC video data, please come join us at our table.
And just I was going to say, and a side note, if you're wondering what the blue and red lines are, those were our attempts to sort of figure out what caused these spikes. So the blue lines were every Monday of the class, and the red lines, I'm not sure how much you can tell. And the red lines, which there are fewer of, are the quiz days for the class. So we were trying to determine what caused certain spikes that you can see throughout the graphs, and those were our 2 attempts. It does seem to correlate more to the quizzes than the Monday, but it's still, we're trying to figure out different means of what could cause the spikes.